Where's Dudley? Chapters 9 and 10. Hey, Mr. Dudley, I just had to find out if you were dead or alive, Tony gasped. A couple of students are already being held by the police for murdering you, and here you are, alive and well. You march into the cabin, young, while I decide what to do with you, Dudley snapped. Tony went inside the cabin and sat at the kitchen table. Dudley sat opposite him, still holding the rifle. I must say, I'm pleased to hear those punks are under arrest, Mr. Dudley said. But you're okay, Tony said. I am far from okay, you useless wretch. You and people like you have ruined my life. One of your fellow students snatched the light from my world when my dear wife was run down and killed in her prime. And ever since then, you've turned my teaching career into a hateful ordeal. Dudley growled, his hand still gripping the rifle that was leveled at Tony's chest. Look, I'm really sorry, Tony started to say. Are you? That's a lie. I often saw you in class stretching and yawning. Oh, yeah, you waved your arms in the air when you stretched so all your friends could see how bored you were. Do you think I'm blind? Dudley demanded. Look, Mr. Dudley, I'm sorry about all that, but you know it's against the law to fake your own murder and get innocent people in trouble. You're a smart man, Mr. Dudley. You got to know that it's downright illegal to pull a stunt like that, Tony said. Dudley laughed bitterly. Ah, but I've done nothing wrong. On that fateful Monday, your friends followed me from my classroom and proceeded to insult me shamefully. I was hurrying to my car when that thug Mac grabbed my coat and caused me to stumble. As I stumbled, I fell into my car, striking my head on the rearview mirror. I was dazed. Blood was streaming from the wound. I heard those vile girls, Brandy and Lisa, prattling in frightened little twitters. Ah, you killed the old fool, Mac. Ah, Mac, let's get out of here. He's bleeding to death. Then it was an accident, Tony gasped in relief. No, they laid their filthy hands on my coat. They had no right to do that, I thought to myself. Well, they hate me enough to have killed me, so why shouldn't I let them think they did? When they left, I hurried off, put my bloody shirt and coat in the dumpster, and wrote out some accusations. I was entitled to my revenge. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed the whole thing immensely, Dudley said with a smirk. But they've confessed now, Mr. Dudley. I mean, they were under so much pressure they confessed to something they didn't do, murdering you. This is wrong, Tony cried. And pointing that rifle at me is wrong, too. So why don't you put it down? I haven't decided yet if I should shoot you as a trespasser. As for those punks, let them sweat. They certainly made me sweat every time I walked into the classroom, with their taunting looks, their snickers, their rude remarks. Ah, how they tormented me. And their kind killed my Barbara, my beautiful Barbara, who is the kindest, sweetest soul who ever lived, Dudley cried out. Mr. Dudley, not all kids are jerks. You got a son, right? I bet he's not a jerk, Tony said, taking another tack to make the old man relent. The old man's mood changed abruptly. Bob is a wonderful young man, he said softly. Is he on his faked murder? Is he in on this fake murder, Mr. Dudley? Tony asked. Of course not, Dudley snapped. I wouldn't involve my son in a scheme to exact my own vengeance. My life is almost over, but Bob's has just begun, he went on, a tenderness coming into his voice for the first time. So your son thinks you're dead too, huh? Tony asked softly. It's a pretty dirty trick to play on someone who loves you, man. For just a second, Walter Dudley looked conscience-stricken. He turned toward the cellular phone on the end table. Tony could see the man's brain working behind the distressed confusion in his eyes. In his furious desire to punish his students, Dudley had never thought about the anguish he was causing his son. Don't move while I'm calling, Dudley warned, snatching up the phone. Chapter 10. Bobby, Mr. Dudley said in a shaky voice. Yes, I'm all right. I'm sorry, Bobby. I should have called you sooner, but I didn't want to involve you. A tear ran down the old professor's face. I know that, Bobby, and I love you too. In the cabin. Yes, I'm fine. I've got everything I need right here. Listen, Bobby, don't tell anyone that I'm alive. I want those punks to sweat for a while longer. They deserve it. I must go now. Goodbye, Bobby. Dudley put down the phone and heaved a sigh. I never realized what I was doing to him. Perhaps I am losing it. There's just been too much grief, too much abuse at the hands of my heartless young. Maybe true. Perhaps I am bent beyond repair. The man's voice trailed off. Mr. Dudley, you've got to let me go. Holding someone against his will is called kidnapping. It's a serious crime, Tony said. Trespassing is a crime too, Mr. Dudley snorted. I'll just say I had to hold you until the police could arrest you as a prowler, Dudley said. Good, then call the police, Tony said. He was desperately hoping Bobby Dudley was on his way. Surely he'd be concerned enough about his father's welfare to come to the cabin immediately. That phone call must have shown him how distraught and irrational the old man had become. Mr. Dudley kept the rifle trained on Tony as he rambled on about all the miserable days and years he had spent teaching rude, ungrateful students. Then suddenly a sports utility vehicle pulled up outside. Dad, Bob Dudley shouted, bursting into the cabin. He stared frightened at the rifle in his father's hands. Then, looking confused, he glanced over at Tony. Bobby, you shouldn't have come here, Mr. Dudley cried, the rifle wavering in his grasp. The younger man gently took the rifle from his father. Then he looked at Tony. I'm sorry about all this. You okay? You want me to call the cops? He asked. No, I'll just split. You handle it from here, Tony said, hurrying outside to his VW. He was in a cold sweat as he drove down the mountain. Mr. Dudley was taken to a hospital for a complete checkup. The blow he had suffered to his head when he fell into the rearview mirror had stunned him. Perhaps that head trauma had contributed to his bizarre behavior. The doctor said no charges were filed. Mr. Dudley retired immediately and went to a resort for a long recuperation. Mac and Brandy had never confessed to murdering the old man. They had only admitted causing Mr. Dudley to fall. They said that they had left the scene out of fear and he was seriously hurt, but no charges were filed against them either. Clearly, Mr. Dudley's fall had been an accident. The three students had only meant to stop Mr. Dudley so they could talk. When Tony took Donna surfing on Sunday, a really handsome surfer boy named Jake Dumont caught her eye. As she flirted and giggled at Jake's attention, Tony fled, hitting a 6-foot wave. In a moment, he was flying in the water and feeling free as the wind. Really free at last.